in order to try to resolve it in our brain, because we overthink, because it's a way for us to feel like we're resolving something, we need to always feel like we're solving something and things are progressing. So in order to feel like we're solving whatever problem it is, we will overthink it and we'll overanalyze it to the point where it becomes a whole different story or a whole different scenario than what's actually reality. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Missy, and today I thought we would talk about signs that you are self-sabotaging and you don't even realize it. Self-sabotaging is an interesting topic because one of the reasons why we self-sabotage is because there's a deep-seated belief that we don't believe in ourselves, or we don't believe we deserve that thing, or we have this deep fear that it will be taken away, or it's too good to be true. So because we have this deep-seated belief, when we have our beliefs, we take action based on those beliefs. Our beliefs are our guide, and so then we subconsciously will start sabotaging it, because deep down our belief is that we shouldn't have this thing, or this thing is too good to be true, or whatever that belief is. And so we start to make our belief a reality, and it really is a type of protective mechanism. And I know it sounds counterintuitive, like why would we ruin something that's good? Why would that be a protective mechanism? And it's because we are trying to, it's basically like we're trying to get to it before it can get to us, kind of thing. Like we feel more in control if we cause it to happen and we're like, see, I knew it was going to happen, versus if it just happens and we're blindsided. So it's a protective mechanism. So it can cause us in our life to ruin relationships, ruin opportunities with jobs, or even getting paid more. It can ruin our future in different ways. So there's like blatant obvious signs that we're self-sabotaging and we're spiraling, and then there's some secret hidden ways that you might not even realize that you're self-sabotaging. So the first one is you are procrastinating what you need to be doing, and you're disguising it as you're being productive. So what does this mean? This means that you may have to or you may need to do something like sales calls, or you need to be doing something that could help build your business, but you're doing other things, like you're organizing, or you are thinking of your next plan, and you're doing all these things, and it seems like you're being productive, but you're actually avoiding the thing that needs to do to help you progress in your business. Or maybe like when it comes to dating, you are signing up for a whole bunch of dating websites and you're putting yourself out there, but you're not actually trying to connect. So you're doing something that's productive and is like, it looks like you're leaning into it, but you're not actually taking those steps and doing anything about it. You're not really trying to really reach the goal that you actually are trying to reach. And this is to make our ego feel better. So it's like, hey, like I am doing things, and makes you feel good because you feel like you're doing something, but deep down you know that you're not actually moving forward, you're not really truly doing something. So then at the end of the day you feel bad because you're not moving forward. So it's a temporary soothing of the ego, but longer term you feel that pain of not moving forward. The next one is overthinking and overanalyzing. This is a major one for people that internalize things a lot. And what we'll do is, when something's happening, in order to try to resolve it in our brain, because we overthink, because it's a way for us to feel like we're resolving something, we need to always feel like we're solving something and things are progressing. So in order to feel like we're solving whatever problem it is, we will overthink it and we'll overanalyze it to the point where it becomes a whole different story or a whole different scenario than what's actually reality. So we will think ourselves into a trap, or we'll think ourselves into worst case scenario, and we'll feel like it's actually happening, because as we always talk about in this channel, our brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So because we are imagining this story that's happening, we are now living as if the story is happening, and we are acting as if the story is happening, and then we are sabotaging the thing that is going on, because we're living something different than what's actually going on. And you will see this in conversations, especially with like someone that maybe you're in a relationship with, or someone, some type of relationship, even a friendship, whatever it is. Like you'll be talking to them and they'll be saying one thing and you'll say something out of left field. Like they'll be like, hey, sorry, I was busy all day, and you may start saying something like, yeah, you were busy talking to somebody else. What? They didn't, there was no evidence of that happening. It's just you overthought it to the point where you convinced yourself that they were talking to somebody else, or they were cheating on you, or whatever it is, or they were avoiding you, or they didn't like you. So when we overthink, we overanalyze, we can overthink ourselves into some type of story, and then we resolve it in our head. We're like, oh, okay, they're talking to someone else, or they don't really like me, and I now need to get rid of them. The next is waiting for the right moment. This is a huge one I think a lot of people struggle with, and why they don't get started on things is because they're always like, okay, I can't do this thing until I have this going on. I have this amount of money. I have this, I'm this amount of weight, or whatever it is. Like, it's always the I'll do it when mentality. And when you do it, when you do it when it feels right, there's no really time when things are right, then you are not able to truly move forward with things that you want to be progressing in. So really, when is there a right moment? There's obviously things that are bad, like if you're down in the gutter, like you're broke, and like you have no car, and like you're suffering really bad with like addiction or something, like, yeah, obviously it's not the right time to think about bringing a child into the world. But there's other things where it's like maybe you're stable, but like you're afraid to take a risk for something, even though it's okay to take a risk in that moment. Like, you won't, because you have to think like, oh, there has to be this right time, when really there's no really right time for anything. It's just taking a risk, doing something, and if you're okay with the consequences, then moving forward with that thing. If you're not okay with the consequences, then obviously you don't. But a lot of people have that mentality of like the right time, when there is no right time. It's just continuing that sabotage of wasting time because you were afraid to take that risk. The next one is downplaying accomplishments. This is the one where I wish I could tell the whole world, like, you have to celebrate even the smallest of wins, and stop saying like, oh, I just did this little thing. Like, you have to celebrate them. It's so important, because the more you celebrate things, the more excited you are to move forward. If you focus on the big picture all the time, you'll never feel like you're moving forward, because the tiny steps will feel like it means nothing. So you want to focus on those little moments and be like, oh my god, I like did this today. Like, I made a bunch of calls today to try to get sponsorship, or like I did X, Y, and Z today. Like, even though I don't have that sponsorship yet, like, I'm so proud of myself for making that move to put myself out there. We have to celebrate those little things, because then it feels like you're moving forward. If you downplay them, like, oh yeah, no, so what, I made a couple calls, like I didn't actually get anything done, like, that doesn't feel good. Then you're less likely to feel good about moving forward. So you don't want to do that. And also what goes hand in hand with that is setting unrealistic goals. It may seem ambitious to set a high achievable goal, but it actually can be a form of self-sabotage. When goals are too difficult to reach, it's almost inevitable that you will fail, and that leads to frustration and self-blame. And so what may be an unrealistic goal is something where it's like completely out of your reach. For instance, an example I always say is like, let's say you have lost a limb and you're trying to grow a limb. Like, that's an unrealistic goal. You cannot do that. You have to set a realistic goal of what is in reality, and it can be a big goal, but it has to be a goal that is achievable in your reality, not what's realistic and maybe in someone else's reality, but what are you able to reach for in your own reality. And it does not make you a failure if you can't set this unrealistic goal. It's just sometimes there's things that are less likely to be achievable, and that's okay. That's just reality. You're not always going to get everything you want, and you're not going to be able to do everything you want, and you have to accept that, and that's okay. Reach more for stars that are reachable rather than stars that are unreachable. And the last is avoiding conflict at all cost. In life, in order to achieve things, there's going to be moments where you have to conflict with somebody. We are a social society, so you're going to converse with other people no matter what. Whether you're trying to set a goal when it comes to your work, you're setting a goal with relationships, whatever it is, there's people along the way, and you're going to have have some sort of conflict to get what you want, because there's what you want and then there's what other people want, and they're not always going to align. So you have to conflict with others. You can't avoid conflict, otherwise you you're less likely to try to gain what you want. It's like the agreeable versus the non-agreeable people. The non-agreeable people are more likely to achieve what they want versus the people that agree with everyone and is nice with everyone. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be mean or step on anyone's toes. It really just means that you have to fight for what you want, and you can't always be the good guy. You're gonna be the bad guy in somebody else's story, always, no matter what. You can't always be the person that is always liked. It's just bound to happen. So you have to accept that along the way you're gonna have some conflict, you're gonna have to disagree with people, you're gonna have to, you know, figure things out, and that's okay. That's how you learn how to negotiate, that's how you learn how to compromise, and you can do it in a respectable way, but you can't just be nice and just always be the one that is the giver and doesn't take anything. And not only that, but avoiding conflict eventually leads to you bottling up your own emotions and then eventually explode. And that's not good for your mental health, and it's probably not good for the people around you either. And that's what's more likely to lead to downfalls in relationships, any type of relationship, versus being able to address things as soon as it comes up and as soon as you notice it's a problem that needs to be addressed. So you can pick your road, either temporary discomfort and having a difficult conversation that can lead to negotiation and compromise, or playing nice and keeping things copacetic temporarily, but then long-term probably leading to a big blow up, which could lead to failed connections. You gotta pick which poison. So these are some ways that you may be self-sabotaging and you don't even realize it. What do you guys think? Leave it all in the comments below. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with someone that you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye, guys. A lot of us that think a lot. That's silly. Why would I say that? Everybody thinks. And it doesn't make you a failure. And it doesn't make you a... Holy shit.